Hallo en welkom by GI Joburg Internasionale Helden. My naam is Steven en wag 'n bietjie.
En jy is op Suid-Afrika's nommer 1 GI Joe podcast.
The language settings incorrect. Hello and welcome to episode 207 of GI Joburg, the International Heroes. My name is Steve. I'm joined by my boys Paul.
Hey guys.
And Robert.
Hey there guys, hello.
And an extremely special guest joining us. You might know him as Tony, you might know him from Analog Toys, but tonight, he's coming to us as the latest recruit on the Action Force team. It's Desert Rat. Hello.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Excited. Can you tell?
So am I. I've been pumped for this all day.
All day? I think I've been pumped for this all week, Tony. I mean, you dropped the bomb on me. I think it was a Monday or Tuesday, and you said like, "Would you like to have me on the show?" I was like, "Absolutely."
Awesome.
We record on Sunday. Can you do that? And you're like, "Yep." Be glad to.
I'll make it
so
happen.
Here we are. So how the hell are you, man? Are you pumped? I mean, you're an action figure.
I'm doing really good. I keep pinching myself to remind myself that I'm not in a dream. But if I am in a dream, like it's been going on a while. It's been over a week now. So, but yeah, like nearly every day or every other day, I'm sort of chatting to Bobby, and there's a new conversation that just like I don't expect that, you know. So yeah, so I am going to be in the comic.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, and it's gonna be based on me, but it's gonna be a fictional version of the real me. So he's gonna be my
save this
age
question for
story
later, but are you? I mean, was there a conversation with legal? I mean, like, is it going to use? Are they going to use your file name, Tony Roberts? What?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Bobby emailed me, I think, on Sunday, like the day after the reveal, whenever that was, and said, it was a day or two afterwards, and I'm still trying to soak in the fact that I'm going to be an action figure.
And
He's
come
like,
down
"Right,
from a
man."
very successful online convention. So congratulations for that as well. All this happened in the wake of Iconicon, of course.
Yeah, yes. And he, but Bobby messaged me. He's like, "Hey, man, we need to sit down and talk about royalties." And I was like, "What? We do?" So we've had that conversation. That was very surreal to me. But yes, it 100%. The character's real name is Tony Roberts.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm now. I think technically that means that Bobby Valor is kind of my boss. So.
And your maker.
Creator.
Exactly. To anyone listening to this on a podcatcher, do yourself a favor, check out the YouTube version, because not only is Tony our first sort of real action figure in attendance as a guest, but he's in cosplay as we speak as Desert Rat. Wonderful. But I'm going to flip the focus back first.
To be fair.
Well, it is now. It went from, I suppose, practical, actual military apparel to now being a cosplay of a fictional, pseudo-fictional character? I don't know, fantasy, reality. You're something else, Tony. You're a hybrid.
It's a real character with a lot of dramatic license. Let's say that.
Maybe, but we'll get into it in a bit. I mean, you have some real stories to tell that are pretty gnarly stuff. Like, I've been able to peep some classified intel on you, Tony, and wow, dude. I mean, you dress it up as like a toy guy and a very approachable YouTuber, but like the flip side of the coin is like you've seen it all, man.
I don't know about all of it, but I've seen a fair bit in my life, and I am a very approachable guy. I always have, of course. But yeah, I've lived quite the life, and I've been around. I travelled all over the world with the Special Forces, and I'm more than happy to sit down with you guys and tell some of the true stories behind the legend that is Desert Rat.
Can't wait. But as I might have alluded to just a second ago, we're going to flick the mic back to South Africa because unfortunately, SA has been making the news recently and not for the right reasons. This week, particularly, we've gotten a lot of messages of concern from friends, from fans out there. Paul, Rob, how the hell are you guys, man?
Start with Rob, because I haven't heard his sexy voice yet.
I've been speaking. Jeez, I was laughing. You could hear my giggles in the background. Well, I think compared to a lot of other places in the country, the Western Cape, where I stay, has kind of basically nothing's happened as far as I know. There was one day this week where there was kind of like a heightened alert level of the possibility of looting and kind of riots, but thankfully nothing came of that. Obviously, there's hectic stuff happening in other provinces in Gauteng, where Paul is, in KwaZulu-Natal especially, absolutely crazy shit happening. But also, in the wake of that, a lot of people coming together and just helping each other to kind of rebuild what's been destroyed and actually protecting what is theirs and making sure that for themselves and for their communities as well, that there will be something after this. So it's incredible to see people coming together after all of this has happened and kind of going like, we reject this. We want to be moved forward and, just build a better place for each other and just reject the violence and the craziness that has been going on recently. So thankfully, exactly. I've been okay. But Paul, how's it been for you?
Because I'm in Joburg and there have been things happening. And because where I stay is not that far away from one of the sort of, I suppose the term that they use in the news is an informal settlement that is densely populated with a lot of people that are struggling. And so there was a lot of high alerts. I mean, we're parts of WhatsApp groups for our neighborhood watch, and everybody was like freaking out because, anytime there's any sign of smoke or fire or movement or whatever, alerts were sent out. So my whole week was alerts of, there's apparently looting happening at this place. And then our security companies would go and check it out and be like, nope, there isn't looting happening here. Everybody can calm down, be careful with fake news. So that's been an interesting situation. Aside from the actual violence and madness that has been happening, what has been really crazy, and what has just added to it, is the amount of false information or misinformation that has been spread. And on purpose. I mean, at first it was considered like negligent behavior, and now we actually have found out that it was actually orchestrated. And our president has called it a failed insurrection. So,
yes, look, to just clear up any darkness that might be clouding this and any confusion, these were very planned and very deliberately instigated reactions to our former president, who's the biggest criminal to walk the earth, finally being incarcerated. He's been sentenced to 15 years, and of course a political powder keg has blown up. I mean, essentially him becoming president was a way to stall all the pending litigation against him. And now finally there have been judgments that have been served and handed down, and he's going to do prison time. And of course, political flashpoints around the country exploded. But anyways, should we start talking about politics?
Yeah, so listen, if
we're okay.
We're okay. We're okay, and thankfully a lot of people I know are okay. Some of the businesses, like Celia works for a huge company in South Africa that is a clothing brand. A few of their stores got hit, unfortunately. So that's where it has hit me on a more personal level, so to speak, because it has affected sort of, the job of my girlfriend. But other than that, we are okay. And also on this note, I just want to also throw in thank you to everybody who sent us messages and checked in, and messages of support and messages of concern, and also all the good wishes and everything that you sent us. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate that. It was really cool of you guys to send messages and to at 2 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the afternoon get a message. Hey, Paul, just want to check if you and Rob are okay there in South Africa and that kind of thing. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Hey, awesome. Feeling the love. Anyway, on the note of love, has anybody got anything cool or new or seen anything on the internet that they are excited about?
Oh, we'll get to
Toy-wise.
the reveals, but just to kick off our new shit section, Tony, have you got any new toys kicking around this past week, or anything that you'd like to talk about? New arrivals?
I haven't had anything in the mail just recently. I did go and order a reproduction Star Wars action figure from Stan Solo, a company that I buy a lot from. I do a lot of reviews. He's come out with the last 17 General Lando figure reproduction, very reasonably priced, really quality production. So it hasn't arrived yet. It's in the mail, but that was my purchase this week. But I've actually had like no mail, so it was an unusual week for me to have no mail.
Sounds about right. Anyone else with anything that arrived this past week?
Nothing for me, but I think Paul might have something. He sounds very excited.
More He-Man
more
figures,
He-Man?
I'll bet you.
It is more He-Man stuff. I'm so sorry, guys. Like, they're so cheap. And actually, to be fair, these are as fresh as of yesterday. I only went to the shop yesterday because it was safe to do so. So there's Faker and Fisto. But yeah, I went to Eastgate, of all places. I think it's the second time I've been to Eastgate in my entire life. And I went to their Toys R Us. And I found Fisto and Faker from the current wave. So I've successfully managed to get all of this wave. I am becoming a He-Man fan. I don't know how it happened, but I suppose it doesn't hurt when the toys are like 200 Rand. It's so easy to go, oh, I can just spend $200 on a Fisto. It's fine. I don't need to have a pizza today. You know, it's that kind of thing. So anyway, I got them. They're great. I'm having a lot of fun with them. And yeah, I'm really into this He-Man thing. It also doesn't hurt that fellow Bergforce members are also fans of this toy line and are helping me find some cool stuff on overseas. So that's great. But yeah, that's all that's new for me. Oh, and I'm moving into my house in like 2 weeks, into my flat, my new apartment, whatever. So that's exciting.
Right.
So the next episode of this, I think I might actually be in the flat. But anyway, we'll see. So yeah, cool. Anyway, that's enough about me and my toys.
I've had a pretty big week for arrivals, boys, and a picture. Well, a picture just tells 1,000 words. So,
Love it.
bam! All right, okay. So I got General Hawk's gun.
Wow.
Yes,
I've
dude.
never had before.
Yes,
And it's a nice piece.
it is. Yes, nice, dude. Nice.
Why are you stalling, Paul? Can you see things?
No. I'm just like, carry on.
Okay. Being weird. What?
I don't know.
Nothing else to say about that, really. Except there's a rather gaudy pair of pants on General Hawk. Like, ever since we spoke to Mike French of Retro Blasting about this particular figure, he's alerted me to the fact that, like, the camera's a little too loud. And now I look at it with contempt. Oh, dear.
Michael French is good at doing that to people, isn't he?
He twists your opinions, man. He's absolutely right. When I compare those trousers to, like, Flint's, it is a little bit too stark a contrast. Anyway, moving on. Another part that I got in the mail was Major Storm's pistol. I got this Major Storm this time last year from a local seller here in Oz. Probably overpaid for it since it was incomplete. But finally, thanks to Robert Zubekis, I have the part. Very pleased to have that. Yeah, just, it's a big, gaudy gold pistol, but, without it, you've got an incomplete figure. And there is such satisfaction in completing even a third-tier figure like Major Storm. But
Cool shot.
doesn't
dude.
end there. Who's this cool guy? I got Rock and Roll version 1.5. And you know what? I've always been a version 2 guy, but there's some magic in having that OG 13 Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm.
And his tasty, tasty gun. He's pictured with a gray helmet, which is Crankcase's helmet. The figure didn't come with his original helmet, but that's okay. This kind of gray helmet It actually kind of looks like he's a member of the Wehrmacht, to be honest.
Yeah,
And with
yeah.
that
He's got
machine
an
gun,
MG42, so
exactly right. Yeah. Or well, could it also not be an MG3?
yes, it could be.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's modified anyways. It's got this kind of shroud that neither the MG42 or the MG3 had, but it's a beautiful gun. Like, I oftentimes snub the OG13 sculpted weapons as being a little bit simplified, but this is so detailed. My word. It has a Reproduction Marauder Inc. bipod, and it's also an accessory pack weapon, but I like it in that gunmetal gray instead of the original black. It's very, very nice. But rock and roll is forever going to be linked to the Ram. But there's another vehicle that I think is just as fitting for the Premiere or the original 13 machine gunner, and that's the Manta. Surfs up, dude.
Yeah,
Exactly right. Yeah, he actually did get a comic appearance operating the Manta. I think it was issue 18. Him and Torpedo arrive on the beach at Coney Island riding a Manta.
How much do you like the gunmetal grey, Steve?
A lot, to be honest.
So if I had an original rock and roll machine gun and I don't have a rock and roll, and I was to send it to you, you wouldn't want it.
Sounds like you wouldn't. I think you should hang on to it.
Objection, Your Honor. Leading the witness. Tony, you have been generous enough in recent memory, and I'm going to cut to the chase. Okay, I wanted to focus on the fact that Rock and Roll's machine gun has got a reproduction bipod, because that bipod is a donation from another figure which no longer needs it, and it's this figure here. It's Dusty, and for the longest time, I thought his bipod would forever be out of my reach. I was quite happy with substitute parts, but there's something very special about getting that 1985 original part. And the man I have to thank for sending it along my way he's in the chat right now. It's Mr. Tony Roberts.
Well, technically, you need to thank Matt Swafford of Reclaimers Vintage Toys, because because Jody sent me one. Because I'd mentioned this in a video, so I've got to a point where I just can't mention things that are missing in my collection anymore, because everyone sends me one. So Jody sent me one.
I've reached the same point as well with you then. I mean, I can't mention a damn rock and roll machine gun with you saying, well, it's not the original if you want it. But doesn't it look fabulous, man?
I know this is the one that came from Matt Swafford, because I think the one from Jody arrived first, so that's the one that went onto my figure. The one from Matt Swafford, he had put it in a small Ziploc bag and taped it to a piece of cardboard. And I left
his return address.
Folded up the cardboard, put it in a box, and sent it to Steve on Monday. And I
can confirm if it's Matt or not. I just need to fish the box out of the recycling, because it has a return address on it. I must definitely reach out to Matt for that then.
I was going to say, Steve, quickly, before you change like the image, that's a very cool shot there, man. Love that. When it's zoomed in like that, that's very cool.
Well, podcast listeners, I'll be sure to put these photographs up on our Instagram accounts or Facebook, so track us down there if you want to see my cool action figure photography.
Your toynography.
But yeah, man, it really just makes the set. And while I was already a huge fan of Dusty, like, it just enhances the love for that classic figure. Tony, as a serviceman who spent his fair time in the sandboxes of the world, how do you rate the FAMAS as a gun? Did you ever have any encounters with this French weapon?
No, I haven't. The interesting thing with this, though, is that it's what they call a bullpup rifle. A bullpup is where the magazine housing is situated behind the pistol grip, not in front of the pistol grip. So obviously in the British Army, we had the SA-80, which is the standard weapon for frontline soldiers. That's known to not be a great weapon. But also my time in the Australian Army, I fired the Steyr, which is also a bullpup weapon. And I'm not a fan of the bullpup design personally. I'm not saying that this is not a good weapon. But yeah,
the advantage of the design.
with the magazine in front of the pistol grip.
Is that for reloading purposes?
Yes, reloading purposes. It gives the rifle a lot better balance.
Okay. Because the advantage of the bullpup design is to shorten the length that the barrel needs to protrude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've got the action behind you, basically in the crook of your arm.
Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Steyr is the Baroness's weapon these days. It seemed to be.
Yeah, definitely. Artists love drawing her with the Austrian gun.
In fact, when Warren had to do a cover of the Baroness and he asked me what gun he should use, I was like, look at the Steyr.
All right, we've dwelt on Dusty and his weapon enough. It's a beautiful piece, and thank you, Tony. Thank you. I was very cheeky. You mentioned it in the live stream, and I immediately shot back to you and said in a private chat, like, do you still have extra Dusty bipods? I mean, honestly, this is a piece that I gave up on ever getting because its price alone is prohibitive when there are substitutes that kind of blink and you miss it. It looks analogous enough to the real thing, but as I said before, having the real thing just swells your appreciation of what is already like a top tier figure.
Yes.
I always felt a little guilty about having that bipod because Andrew sent me one when he sent me a Dusty, so I always felt a little guilty about that, like. But it's because I know how much you love that gun. But now I'm glad that we bipod buddies. Oh god, okay.
Tony, just a bit of speculation I'd like to get before we close the chapter on the FAMAS as a weapon. Do you think it was just like futuristic for 1985, and that's why Ron Rudat and the boys included it as a weapon in the line, or do you think that there's something else to Dusty?
That could have been it. I mean, like obviously it's the weapon of the French legionnaires, and a lot of their history revolves around desert warfare. But I remember the first time I ever laid eyes on the Steyr was in an awful movie called Harley Davidson and the Marlboro Man, where all the bad guys carried Steyrs, and at the time it was a very futuristic looking weapon. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting choice, and I think even with Dusty's with his headgear as well, with the what do they call those hats?
Havelock. Oh, the Fritz style helmet.
Yeah, it's with the flap of material coming off the back of his headgear.
It's not called a Havelock.
Like Legionnaire, so.
So I don't know if you caught that. Is it not called a Havelock, Tony?
It could be. I'm not sure.
My first encounter with the Steyr is probably most people's first encounter with the Steyr, and that's which is the baddie in Die Hard. I forget his name. He's got the one with the brother, the long blonde hair, the ballet dancer.
Yes,
the German
Carl.
Yeah. No, actually, that would have been the first time I saw the Steyr. Because that came out before Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. I remember Harley Davidson, the Marlboro Man. There was like the four villains in trench coats, and they all had Steyrs, and yeah.
Of course. All right. Next news item actually speaks to the brand new GI Joe animated series. Apparently, it's going to have its first season for release in 2022. So this is some long-term stuff, but sounds like it's going to focus a lot on Snake Eyes. Surprise, surprise. Anyone else heard about this?
Yeah.
I had
the announcement.
What?
Yeah. What is that, Rob?
I haven't. I didn't know that there was a new cartoon coming out. That's pretty cool.
So
you're not alone, Rob. I've got no idea what's going on at the moment.
Fantastic. Well, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
There's been a sizzle reel that hasn't been shown to us, but shown to, I suppose, the audience members that are part of the licensing convention in Brazil. Anyway, they did a description of what was in the clip, and it's really just what Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow look like. Snake Eyes looks a lot like a Black Power Ranger. He wears bladed gauntlets like classified series Storm Shadow art. or most popularly known as Batman gauntlets. He's got a silver visor, has no weapon, just a badass kick. Storm Shadow looks a lot like the Marvel character Crossbones, apparently. He has a white high collar jacket with no sleeves, and like Snake Eyes, he wears the same gauntlets. He's dual wielding 2 tang hooked katanas, and the enemies that they're facing off against are 2 males, one bare chested with tattoos, wearing Japanese demon masks. And the bare chested enemy wields a double ended Japanese shoge hook. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul.
No, you're correct.
The other wields a straight sword while receiving a knee kick to the chest from Snake Eyes. And the location is on top of a building, sort of a helipad with neon signboards seen around the city. And apparently there are 4th of July-like fireworks, which is very much a callback to the intro sequence of GI Joe, the movie. So 2022, I mean, in one sense, it's quite a ways off, but it's one of those things that you blink and you miss it. People have been clamoring for a GI Joe animated series, and it looks like it's in the pipeline. But is this the right approach?
I'm going to say yes. Here's the thing. Firstly, I am very lukewarm about it, just because we've had a few GI Joe animated sort of series in between the original and now. Some were really great in the form of like the Retaliation stuff and Renegades. I liked Renegades personally. Some were really bad, like Spy Troops, etc. And Sigma 6, and that, the jury's out in Sigma 6, so I don't want to get into that. But if it elevates the brand, if it just makes GI Joe cool in the eyes of kids, and it makes and it gets Hasbro to produce more toys, and it builds up the fandom, then awesome, because then we benefit by having cool GI Joe stuff, and this is a property that we love very much. So I think it's a great thing that they're doing that. And also, if I am going to mention He-Man right now, but these He-Man toys in South Africa, they're doing well, because they're selling to people who the brand's already invested in. So it's people who know about it and whatever's. And occasionally, when I'm in the toy shops and whatever's, I see kids getting excited about them. But having a cartoon would really help the toy line in a big way. And I think, GI Joe having a cartoon would help the brand in a big way. So I think it's a great thing, actually, especially if with the movie, with the Snake Eyes movie that's coming out, and the fact that it sounds good, from what we've heard, it sounds like it's a good movie. So let's carry on that excitement, and that's, at least that's where I'm taking it from. I mean, if it's a dumpster fire, it's a dumpster fire. You know what I mean? But we'll only know in 2022, I suppose. Anyway, that's me.
Any responses from anyone else? Gents, Rob, Tony?
I'm just gonna wait to see it. Yeah.
It's the first time hearing of it. I mean, it kind of sounds like they're probably doubling down on Snake Eyes. They must have some confidence it's going to be popular. And I'm not, speaking of the live action movie, I'm not that confident, but that's not to say I want it to be bad. Like, I love GI Joe, and I want to see a huge resurgence. So I really hope that I go to see Snake Eyes Origins, and I am pleasantly surprised, and hopefully the same with this cartoon. So
let's be cautiously optimistic, let's not be gatekeepers, I suppose.
I mean, it seems like they're launching a massive 3-pronged, maybe 4-pronged approach. I mean, not only is there the feature film, which hopes to start a series of feature films, presumably, because it is it's GI Joe Origins. This is a kind of a reboot, as it were. They've also announced a Lady J live-action TV series, and now this cartoon series. So they're definitely trying to further the story of G.I. Joe and bring it into the now. And it's an oft-said phrase, but a rising tide, raises all ships. Anyways, look, it couldn't hurt, could it?
Hopefully, that's the thing. Hopefully it doesn't do any damage to the brand that's already sort of getting onto its feet again. So that's the only hope. Also, guys, worth mentioning in terms of like properties that are coming out from GI Joe. I mean, there's that Lady J TV series, and like I know that we've sort of briefly touched on that in the past, but I heard that it's the Bonaventura is one of the producers, and that makes me very nervous because
Dude, that guy will always be producing GI Joe.
no, I get it, but that's the issue I have. Well, it's exactly that. Like I'm like, I just hope it's a good one. That's the only thing that makes me nervous about that going forward. But I mean, I just wanted to throw that in as a tidbit because I read
Look,
that
I
somewhere.
think we can all agree that if it's anything like Resolute, it's on the right track.
Oh, yeah.
But time will tell. Something else that was sort of a little bit of a reveal passed in front of my nose this week, thanks to Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, good old Zazel Phoenix. He told me that, or he referred me onto a CBR article, which was also it's about animation, so it fits the current agenda. In the Inhumanoids cartoon, I don't know if anyone remembers Inhumanoids, but there's a reference to GI Joe, not quite as marked as the cops reference to GI Joe, but there's a character in Inhumanoids called Sabre Jet, and Sabre Jet is a horrifically disfigured human who his aircraft, he basically perished in his aircraft, and they used his aircraft parts to rebuild him. Turns out this guy's name.
Man.
Totally. Well, the whole tone of the show was pretty macabre. It was about giant monsters, right? So they rebuilt Sabre Jet using parts from his crashed jet, and his file name is Brad Armbruster.
Oh, Ace.
Ace. So there's some interesting little nuggets there, I guess, that these worlds can coexist. All right, let's move on to our next news item. So there are in-hand images of the new Zartan. The image that I flashed on the screen now, the the classified series 6-inch Zartan that comes with all the extra heads and accessories and stuff. The picture that I'm showing now is a render, and this is what he looks like blue. But the in-hand images have been revealed online, and not too shabby.
Whoa!
What do you gents think of that?
Smurfalicious.
Smurf Zartan in the hizzy. People have objected to his silver accents on the armor. Take it or leave it. My big objection is the fact that these color change features are activated by putting him in the fridge, or the freezer, in fact. You need to cool him down to turn him blue. Whereas, classic Zartan's color change feature was activated by sunlight, which is his character trait. It's like, the sunlight. I can't take sunlight.
My eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I fire off the first salvo on an opinion here, because
hit it.
I'm
should
sorry.
Have done this right out the gate, right?
This might seem a little bit uncharacteristic, but I'm a little pissed off about this reveal. Like, not like whatever. And I'm sorry if I'm sure there's other fans out there that are very happy about this and awesome, but I'm a little pissed off at this. This is something that they just could have done from the beginning. I don't see why we had to get it as an exclusive. And also it's a $30 figure. It's gone from being a $20 to a $30 figure. So why didn't they just do this as a retail release? I understand there's convention exclusive, blah, 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 but still, this is just a little off-pissing. It's like, for me anyway.
I caught wind of the possibility that there was some excuse made as to why it wasn't originally color changing, and that it had something to do with the plastic. They couldn't get hold of the plastic for some reason. Like, it was a COVID delay, basically. So the exact kind of plastic that has this
color changing ability.
Property.
But then also and don't get me wrong, I think, I mean, I'm also not a big fan of those silver accents. I think the version that we got originally on store shelves is a great toy. And I mean, and I love that toy. And I think this package, I think the concept is great. It's like, it's awesome that we got all of this stuff. I just don't know why they couldn't have just done that the first time round. That's all. That's the only thing that pisses me off. I think the figure is cool. I just don't know why they couldn't have just released it. I understand, yes, there's COVID delays, blah, 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 with the plastic and etc. But yeah, anyway, just annoyed. Hasbro gives, and then they take it away.
James Salzberg says he looks like Faker. So
He does look like Faker.
some Motu love there, Paulie.
I've got Faker
yes.
in my hand now, and Faker's like, brother? You think if he removed Zartan's armor, he would also have a computer behind it? Just asking for a friend.
Sorry, I just stepped out for a moment to refill my drink. But is this a? I know this is an exclusive. What's this exclusive to? San Diego Comic-Con?
It's a convention exclusive, and forgive me, Tony, I'm not that up on my current events. I mean, conventions are effectively dead to me.
Yeah, so I think one of the good things with this, there's obviously a lot of talk certainly in the GI Joe classified collecting community. People are getting incredibly frustrated with all the exclusives that are hard to get. To me, this is a genuine exclusive where everyone's had the opportunity to get the basic Zartan figure. So if you don't get the exclusive, at least you've still got Zartan. At least it's not like, the Cobra Viper or something, the Target exclusive that's like impossible to find. So this is a good choice for an exclusive, I think.
Yep, and James Salzberg has set us straight. It is the HasCon Online exclusive. Cheers, brother.
Okay.
HasCon.
All right, guys, let's move swiftly on past Zartan and into
Yay!
the Super 7 Ultimates reveal. My word. Yeah. Paul, I'm sure you're champing at the bit, dude. Kick us off.
I am, but Rob, have you seen these yet, dude?
Yes, I did. I watched the little video that Super 7 put out. I love their editing. The little effects that he puts into his video as he kind of like says things, it really pumps you up. I think these look really amazing. There are 6-inch figures though, aren't they?
7.
7-inch.
7-inch.
Okay, they're twice as big as they should be, but they look absolutely incredible and they're very accurate.
They're meant to fit in with the rest of what Super 7 is calling their Ultimates. So they kind of didn't want to play in the same sandbox as the classified. They want to play in their own.
But
so
yeah,
these will look good
amazing.
next to their Silverhawks figures and their TNMT figures, all that sort of thing.
Yep,
they do look absolutely fantastic. And I love that they come with so many accessories. I mean, that's really cool. And you can do a lot of really great stuff with these figures. It's amazing.
Lots of stuff in the box, but there should be, because these are retailing at $55 US a pop,
which is actually a very cool price. And sorry, coming from somebody who is an Ultimates collector, okay, I collect Ultimates Ninja Turtle stuff, and I feel like you really do get the value for the money. I think the quality of the toys is great, and I love the accessories that came with the Ninja Turtles, and I like the little sort of nods that Super 7 have done, and I see that that's carried on into this line. Now, I'm going to be full disclosure. I'm probably not going to collect this line, and I know I say that sometimes about a lot of things, but I'm not going to collect this line. I'm going to pick up a Bat, maybe, and I'd love to see how they do Scarlet and the Baroness, but I think I'm going to personally avoid this line just because I've got the Ninja Turtles going on. And
are the Ninja Turtles quite hardy, Paul? Like, how are Super 7's quality in terms of toys to play with?
Okay, so I would say with the Super 7 stuff, when they do, like, when I'm looking at these Joes, these characters, and I think about Super 7, I think that these will be pretty hardy in a lot of ways. The Turtles do feel like they can be a little bit fragile in the hip area with the leg joints. That always freaks me out a little. But these are okay. These look like they're going to be okay for that kind of thing. But then again, these are very much, I feel the Super 7 stuff is kind of like display with or pose for toy photography kind of vibe. I would be remiss to like hand them over to a child, for example, because I think a kid wouldn't. I think if you give it to a kid that's maybe not that careful, they might easily break, and that would just cause a lot of sadness.
Well, I believe that is Super 7's approach. They're creating collectors' lines of figures. They're not making toys for kids. They're leaving that to Hasbro to create, while as they're kind of creating forging their own niche in this industry.
So I watched the interview with Brian Flynn of Super 7, and I pulled a few salient points out that might be interesting to discuss. He says that he's got years and years of this product planned out. He's got over 36, and this is Ultimates alone. We'll get into the reaction stuff in a minute, but he's got over 36 characters planned already. So that's 3 years worth at least of reveals. And it's all in motion. He is totally all in on this license. Probably for the next 10 years, in fact, or more. And he also made a point of like, it's very compatible with everything else that Super 7 is doing in this scale. And also, in terms of accessories, I just need to draw everyone's attention to the fact that Duke comes with a watch, and that watch, like you can take his hand off and place the watch, realistically, basically, to hide that cuff, that joint. So you can have him with the watch or without, which is basically just a nod to like a few frames of animation.
And also,
talk.
And one of the thing about this line that's absolutely stunning and that makes it stand out is the fact that it's a Sunbow based line. Everything here is based on the Sunbow cartoon, so it's going for the Sunbow aesthetic. I mean, that's for our listeners on the podcast, and for our viewers, because you guys are seeing this all here. But I like that. I like that they've taken that. That's the vehicle they've gone with. They're going for a strict Sunbow thing. They're not trying to take GI Joes and make them cooler, aka classified or Mesco. They are literally taking the Sunbow stuff. And it's something that I've seen have at least for me, when I was collecting 25th anniversary, it had a serious appeal to me when they released figures that had a bit of a Sunbow edge to them. That said, this is going to be great. One thing about this line that I think is going to be really cool, and I know I'm making speculations here, but I think we're going to finally see characters like Night Raven and Mara, for starters. Yes. I think we're going to see that. Maybe like Dr. Burkhardt, maybe Hector Ramirez. I think we're going to get some of those characters. And I think that's kind of great if you're a G.I. Joe fan. That's something that's really special. Also,
they're plumbing the depths. It's not just the cartoon stuff. While that is a huge thrust, like the accessory that I'd like to show off right now is the snake encircling the globe, which Brian Flynn kind of set aside and said that that's his favorite accessory. And it doesn't come from the cartoon specifically. It specifically is meant to replicate the Atari commercials for the G.I. Joe video game, which was, I think it's called G.I. Joe Cobra Attack. I mean, the comic book ad was probably the best part of it because the gameplay, by all accounts, is appalling.
And also, guys, if you're worried about your Snake Eyes being very, very blue, let me just set you straight. Snake Eyes is blue in the miniseries, which means that they're going to do the more gray version of Snake Eyes with the version 2 visor. I'm sure that's coming down the pipe, and I'm sure that will be released in the same set with like Spirit.
That version would also be of bluer hue with black accents.
Because, I actually went and looked it up. Purposely looked it up just to check because I wanted to see if my memory was failing me on it. And it's like more of a light purple than a gray.
Sure. Yeah, they didn't want to animate a completely black-clad. Hey, you madman! They didn't want to animate a black-clad character would kind of disappear into the backgrounds. So yeah, Snake Eyes always took on that midnight blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also want to say, Rob Walsh, if you're listening to this, you called it, buddy. This is absolutely what he predicted Super 7 would reveal. So, nice. Moving squarely along, I mean, has everyone said their piece about good old Super 7's Ultimates line?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, sure. I mean, is anyone actually going to buy this stuff?
No.
Yeah, but
they look really cool, but I as well wouldn't buy these. It's just not my. I was never a huge. I mean, I didn't grow up with the cartoons, so it's my personal focus. But I think it's nice that they are producing them, and hopefully, it continues to introduce more people to GI Joe and the cartoon and everything else.
I'm going to resist it with everything I have because I like money. And it's crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know where to put all this stuff, and I don't know how many banks I have to rob to get it all. But I'm going to cherry pick. I'm going to certainly cherry pick. There's a few characters that are done in the Sunbow style, which I think are well worth owning. And as I mentioned, like Scarlet would be great. I haven't mentioned Lady J. As I'm thinking now, it would be great to have Mora. It would be great to have Shipwreck. It would be great to have Storm Shadow. Oh my word, my money. Anyway, moving along, Stephen.
Indeedy.
Paul, real quick, if you do end up robbing banks for this, I am looking for some part-time work. So,
Oh, rock and roll, cool, man. We just
There
need
you
a real
go.
man now.
All right, gents. So something a little bit closer to the GI Joe scale that feels right are the reaction figures. Now, these are actually going to be available in stores as early as September.
These are
And
nice
the
if you
initial-
like Star Wars figures, I think.
Well, I want to hear from Tony because he is a fan of the Palitoy Action Force figures, 5 points of articulation and all. What is your feel towards GI Joe figures done in a similar style?
I think it's a step backwards.
Granted.
So this is Super7's reaction line, and my reaction is to not like these.
Right. To put things in perspective, they are retailing at the premium price point of $18. They're
US?
currently US, yeah. So
Whoa.
that's a further detraction, I guess. But they look so pretty,
So
don't they?
when Hasbro announced the retro collection last year, everyone was wanting because they'd done Ghostbusters, like a retro collection, a recreation of the originals. They'd done the retro collection Star Wars, a recreation of the originals. We were all expecting a recreation of the O-ring styled figure, and what we got was the 4-inch scaled, not even original sculpts or anything. Some 25th anniversary figures with new paint apps. So fans are screaming out for the original 3 3/4-inch O-ring style articulation design, and yeah, they're not getting it.
Yeah, they seem very reticent to do it. I mean, I don't know why they keep, I don't know, I suppose stringing people along. It's like you say it's going to be retro, but then it's not retro at all. I mean, 2004, 2005 isn't retro. That's still 20 years past the point where the line originally came out.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is a situation where I feel like we have to vote with our credit cards, and as a fan base, like I'm sure that this line will have its fans totally, but I think if people can maybe, and I this is horrible and hardcore to say, but I think if people can maybe just hold off on, if they don't like them, then don't buy them. Like, I know it sounds weird to say that, but a lot of us as fans sometimes get sucked into it's a GI Joe product, I have to buy it to support GI Joe, but like you're not. Well, you are, but you're also not. You're supporting something that maybe you don't want to see more of, and so that's something I think we have to be careful with as fans. I've seen some very cool positive comments leveraged towards this line, and I've seen some negative comments put against this line, and the negative comments are the obvious ones. I mean, Tony, you're right, and I agree with a lot of what you said there. But some of the positives are, well, yeah, they cartoon accurate, I suppose. If I can leverage one positive thing here, I'm so glad to see them using original artwork, as in they created their own artwork for the packaging. Because as I understand it, reaction figures are mostly collected to be in package, like sort of like oh look, I've got this cool looking modern vintage line that I keep in my collecting room, or in my my den or my party room or whatever. Oh, that's so cool. They never released Back to the Future figures like that before. So you keep them all together. So the art and the toy and everything is kind of like a package deal. So anyway, the positive that I find there is I really like the artwork. And I think they're niche. I just think $19 is too much for them. And I've said this before. Too much.
I kind of wish that they weren't quite as stiffly posed. Like, there is a little bit of juice that you can add to even a 5-point of articulation figure. I'm not saying make them 90s Star Wars Power of the Force, like super posed, like basically, I don't know, Han Solo is like doing a low lunge. That sort of nonsense. But if you just added a little bit of a bend to the elbow or a slight slackening of the knees, they'd be slightly more dynamic. Unfortunately, they look very, very rigid and will hold their weapons, with an arm outstretched, which is unfortunate because even Palitoy Action Force innovated a kind of a crook.
Words out of my mouth.
Yeah, you need that. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. It just makes the figure make sense. And they're not standing like statues.
Yeah,
There
we
go. He's got his desert rat, ladies and gentlemen. He brought it to the studio. Fantastic. And that's probably one of the most exciting theaters of combat in World War II. I mean, the desert rats, correct me if I'm wrong, they were the British guys who were in the jeeps raiding Nazi air bases and Italian air bases in North Africa.
Was it Jeeps or Land Rovers?
Land Rovers, probably.
Yep.
No, Jeeps.
Was it Jeeps?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because I've
Incredible.
got an SAS Jeep model kit. Yeah. And
Well,
there's
I
also
think the
pink
thing
Land
with
Rover as well.
with the reaction figures is that's the style of the line. Is they're all styled to be the kind of like stiffness. It's kind of like pop vinyls where you kind of get a very standard stock look to the figure, and they customize it just based off who the actual character itself is. Just painting something different over this very standard model, I suppose. So it'll appeal to the people who enjoy reactions already, I think, where you want to kind of like buff out your collection with like a different line of characters. It's the same like with pop vinyls. People collect certain characters and lines, or they just collect them just to have a lot of figures, kept in the packaging.
I
So
suppose
The thing is, though, with reaction, they made a name for themselves making figures. Now, I know these are cartoon accurate and not comic accurate, but they really made a name for themselves making retro-styled action figures of properties that we never got any toys for. Back to the Future, Escape from New York, Terminator 1. Well, it all kicked off with Alien, didn't it? The unproduced Alien figures. Now here, you're going to a toy line that actually did exist and was incredibly popular. It was one of the biggest toy lines, if not the biggest toy line of the 80s. And you're dialing everything back. It's yeah.
To add to Rob's point, I think there is a kind of and this is maybe a bit of a positive for the figures. To add to what Rob is saying, I think that there's a sort of an uncomplicated nature to them, which makes them more accessible to collectors of things like reaction already, or to guys who wish to have those toys but don't want to go through the effort of trying to track down the vintage stuff, or possibly find that the multiple articulation Joes are just too much to handle. If that makes sense, like I think there is that crowd that might really appreciate these, the quote unquote Funko Pop crowd, which is quite a diverse collecting body, I may say. I don't want to generalize them because I know people who collect pops and they actually like other cool toys too. So it's weird. Anyway,
actually,
but
cool
yeah, I think that's what makes them gives them an appeal, is that they are uncomplicated.
And to your point, Tony, you're absolutely right, man. Like, these are pre-existing toys, but they kind of had to do they had to cover the obvious bases first up. If I can refer back to old Brian Flynn's interview with Fushcast, he was saying that he's got such epic plans to create the toys that we never got. And that's why he included Quinn first up. It's just a little smattering of this is what we hope to do. We've got huge plans for this IP. We're going to hang on to it for a long time. You're going to get bath rugs with GI Joe. He dropped a name that I don't recognize at all. Major Juanita Hooper? What?
Yeah. What?
Yeah, I don't know who that is either.
How is that? He wants to make all the goofy side characters that you never thought would get made. And with Super 7, there also exists the possibility, because they did do Snake Mountain, they have crowdfunded the Thunder Tank. So with a line like Joe, and he was very quick to say that you need vehicles. And there are some vehicles that you need to have. And there are so many vehicles that were never made. So, and the one that he referenced immediately was the Cobra Snake plane. He was like, I don't know how the hell we'd ever do that, but So I guess it's exciting to have this potential, even if the figures are.
Also, I also think it's great that Super7 does seem to care about the line and care about the property. Like, they really care about it. Like,
yeah, they're
you know,
going
to
to
the
release
extent
the
that they wanna
next
do
round of
exciting stuff.
Ultimates in November. So the next drop of Ultimates will be in November, and the orders. The thing about the Ultimates is something that I didn't realize until I watched the live stream or the interview with Fush, which was that he produces exact numbers.
Yes.
He opens orders for a month, and you have a month to order as many as you want. There's no cap, there's no limit. And then once he's got those in, then he goes to factory with exact numbers.
Yep.
So crazy.
Which is great. I think it's great. Like, there's no like risk of trying to make something that's mass market appeal. You make something that appeals, and then it sells to the people who want it. And then if it does really, really well, they reprint it. You know, which they've done with the turtles.
And also, just in case anyone was wondering what the initial lineup was, I should have done this earlier, but always my computer to blame. Decided to shit the bed. Okay, first up, we've got Snake Eyes, Quinn, and Scarlet on the good side, along with some green shirts in various ethnicities. They call it brown, pink, and tan. And then the baddies, we've always going to have the crowd pleaser, Cobra Commander, a very cartoon accurate Destro with removable wrist rockets. Nice touch for something that has very limited appeal otherwise. And Baroness in her blue jumpsuit. Nice. Oh, Scarlet comes with an accessory that she never used to come with, which is the quiver, which I mean, I don't know if I'll pay $18 for a quiver, but it'll certainly tempt me. I can give that to my O-ring Scarlet. And Quinn has his 1919 air-cooled 30 cal, which, as far as I'm concerned, I don't think a GI Joe toy has ever come with. Like, Quinn, when re-released, was given the 50 cal, the roadblock weapon. Anywho, then you've got troop builders galore. Cobra blue shirts in mixed ethnicities, but with 2 stars of web gear. And the packaging is the tell. So if you get a yellow backed package, you've got, let me get this right. The yellow backed package has an H style webbing at the back, the clasp at the back of the figure, and the webbing with the red backed packaging has a Y-shaped clasp at the back of the web gear. So a little bit of added detail, and also the weapons are very cartoon accurate. I thought they might troll us by mixing up the weapons, and it looks like they have. So,
but that's cool.
In some instances, you've got the darker skinned Cobra infantryman with a pistol, and in some instances, he's got the submachine gun. Oh my goodness, it sounds like a variant nightmare. But gentlemen, I think we've got a surprise guest in the mix.
Here comes a new challenger.
Exactly right. Are you there, Melinda Mock of Retro Blasting?
Am I here?
You are.
Yes, you are.
Any of us?
It's the Iconicon royalty, everyone. Hello, Melinda. Welcome to GI Joburg.
That desert rat guy you have in here looks remarkably like my friend Tony.
This is quite the surprise. What happened here?
Well,
schemes and machinations.
We hadn't talked enough Arnie and Sly, so we needed a round 2.
Yes. Yeah.
Melinda, welcome to Joburg. How are you on this Sunday morning? Thank you very much for waking up and jumping on your laptop to talk to us.
That's literally what happened. No, thank you so much for having me. I was watching your Iconicon review, and I was like, oh no, I have to make some clarifications to statements about the statements. So I want to
can't let that go.
Well, mostly because, us Americans are fairly basic in a lot of ways. So when you guys were saying that you were talking about Top Gear and how I had made the comparison between you guys and Top Gear, which was a total compliment, by the way. We watched so much of not the American version, but the original British version. When I saw your video for Iconicon, it was like, this is like a full-on Jeremy Clarkson style, with the slow motion, almost beauty shots of the vehicle and the voiceover and the sunset in the background, and just sort of like talking lovingly with flowery language about the vehicle and just all of that. Just, I've never seen anyone else do it besides them, and so I just didn't want it to come off like I was saying, oh, well, they have accents, so of course it's just like Top Gear.
Well, I'm sorry I was so reductive, Melinda.
No. I'm teasing you a little bit, but I loved the video, and I will also just say that I felt I was embarrassed a little bit, but I thought you guys mostly just did this. I thought you did a podcast, and so I had never seen any of your fully produced content. So that's sort of a great thing that came out of the convention, I think, is that I learned a lot more about like the types of stuff that all of you guys do. So
it is a side thing that has kind of, in many people's eyes, become the main thing. Like, we love meeting up and just talking GI Joe. The occasional video is really just an overflowing of that love for the toys. Fortunately, there seems to be an appetite for that sort of thing, so I'm only happy to produce it when life allows. But comments on Top Gear notwithstanding, Melinda, I'm glad it managed to get you into one of our podcasts, so I'll take it.
Well,
how the hell are you doing? How's the Iconicon come down?
Oh, well, this weekend is my weekend to relax and not do anything, and just lay on the couch. Literally, like all of yesterday, I just laid on the couch and watched TV. It was amazing. It was everything I hoped it could be and more. So
nice. You deserve
what does Queen Retroblasting watch when she wants to unwind? I mean, seems like there's so much content that actually is linked to what you guys do that everything seems like homework, I'm sure. So what's your guilty pleasure?
Oh, like really cheesy romance stuff. That's super really. Yeah, like stuff that runs Michael out of the room screaming.
Like made for TV stuff, or
I mean, if you want to know my actual, yesterday I was binge watching the new season of Virgin River on Netflix, which is basically a soap opera, which, by the way, I grew up watching soap operas with my mom, so I kind of love that. But yeah, I watch way worse stuff. That's like highly produced. I watch like the cheesiest Hallmark and below Hallmark level Christmas movies every year. Michael's just like, what is wrong with you? And I'm just watching it like I'm watching Mystery Science Theater. It's amazing. It's my favorite.
I feel Michael's pain at the moment. Grace is also watching Virgin River.
Yes, me and Grace watching Virgin River. That was so good.
I'd rather watch Movie Oubliette.
Well, I mean, I know, but like, there's not like 10 like hour-long episodes of that. So.
I know.
but to your point, Steve, I think it was Steve that was talking. I have my glasses on, but yeah, like I do think that a lot of the stuff that we normally watch becomes like, oh, I need to take notes, or oh, I need to, rewind that and write that down, the time code, so that I don't want to have to do that. So I just, it's mindless and cheesy. And I know it's cheesy, like, just to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, what else is the cast of Full House supposed to do when they're not on Full House?
Right. Good point. Thank you in the comments.
Oh yeah, and thanks to my buddy Darren Cobb, we perhaps have a possible explanation for the acronym underneath the Tomahawk badge. Paul, I don't know if you caught this, but he offered a fantastic explanation for what the THUG might stand for, and that's Tactical Helicopter Utility Gunship. And I immediately shot back to old Darren saying, it's impossible for that to be the acronym because it's not strained at all. It actually seems like it might be legit.
It's plausible.
Yeah, it's not warrior, hovering, attack, envoy. The Killer Whales acronym has got to be the most bizarre of all. Anyways,
There were a lot of really weird acronyms in the 80s, though, not just GI Joe. I mean,
Melinda, I know Mike's the toy guy, but do you have an opinion? We've just wrapped talking about Super 7's GI Joe reveals. Will you guys be picking up any of this for the Retro Museum?
I mean, if I had to make a guess, I would say probably not. I know Michael doesn't tend to buy, I mean, unless it's just something really spectacular or really terrible that he wants to review. But I mean, I don't necessarily have any interest, although that Scarlet figure you popped up, like Scarlet's my favorite. And I don't know, maybe it's the red
at 5
hair.
points of articulation, she makes the perfect keychain.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know. Part of me always wants to take it and like with GI Joe especially, and the characters from the comics, like not so much the cartoon, but to kind of take some of their looks from the comics. And I kind of want to do like my own art sculpt type stuff of it, like make my own little action. Not that they would be super good, but like because I have that art background, it always makes me want to start. Ooh, I wonder if I could sculpt an action figure that its face actually looked attractive in some way, because that's what matters to me.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Look, I mean, if you look at Scarlet version 1, that figure was pretty rudimentary and left a lot to be desired. So I think I'm tapping into what you were saying about the Ultimates line, Paul, and that's you can't wait to see a Scarlet and a Baroness, because those animated designs were gorgeous. They were very attractive presentations of those characters. And the action figures always left you feeling a little bit slighted. It was like, I mean, Scarlet in animation is beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we spun our wheels about toys long enough. How about we talk about real-world action figures? Tony, my brother, where to begin?
Wherever you would like, my friend.
Talk to us about...
I'm going to leave really quickly while you guys are doing that, just because I want Tony to have the full spotlight, and I have to go feed my cats or they're going to riot. So please continue your discussion. I just wanted to pop in and say I love what you guys do, and thank you so much for participating in Iconic.
Melinda,
Awesome.
you're welcome anytime.
A lovely surprise.
Absolutely amazing experience.
Bye, guys.
Have a good Sunday.
Melinda, thank you.
So talking about Bullpup Rifles, we have a picture of Tony with his Steyr.
That is a 17-year-old Tony Roberts getting towards the end of basic recruit training at Kapuka in New South Wales. Back in those days, the recruit training course was 12 weeks. I think it's only 8 weeks now. But yeah, I joined the Australian Army straight out of high school. My family came to Australia when I was 11 years old. We became citizens when I was like 14 or 15. And I remember when I got to the age and I wanted to join the army, this was like the early 90s. And I always wanted to go back to England and join the British Army. And my mum was scared of me going to Northern Ireland. So I wasn't allowed to go back to England. She was like, join the Australian Army. They're not going anywhere at the moment. It'll be safe. And this is... a long time ago, 27 years ago.
Wow.
I weighed about 40 kilos less than what. As a matter of fact, when I went to join the army, you do the medical checkup, and there's like a height to weight ratio thing. And I got told, because I went in when I was like 16 years and 9 months old. So I want to join as soon as I turned 17, and they said, well, you need to put on 5 kilos because I was too skinny. So my dad got me on a diet, and I just remember drinking lots and lots of milk for the next couple of weeks, trying to put that weight on. So
milk and hopefully beer. Doesn't particularly like a stout? Wouldn't that pack on the kilograms?
That's 16, for sure in Australia.
But it'll give you
don't tell anyone.
I wasn't a big beer drinker back then. I was.
Okay.
I'd have a rum and coke or something. I didn't start really drinking beer until I got into my 20s. It's beers are really an acquired taste. It's
fair enough.
Now like beer's pretty much the only thing I drink. Although tonight I am having a Chivas Regal.
Ooh, special occasion. The man had a roast, ladies and gentlemen. Woohoo! pot.
We have a
What
roast
did you
every
roast?
Sunday.
Beef, lamb?
Roast chicken tonight.
Oh, very good. Delicious.
Yep, full roast chicken, potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, vegetables, the whole lot.
Ah, man.
Man.
In my household, it's pretty much stir fry every night. Cheap, cheerful, easy, nasty.
Yep.
Here we have Tony with a Black Hawk in the background, two in fact, and American soldier. Who's this fella?
So this is the first time that this photo's ever been shared publicly.
Oh dear.
No. I sent these to you. Not that.
I can slap a classified sticker all over that.
No. This amazing man here is now retired. That's not any soldier. That is Major General Michael Jones, who in 2008 was the head of the Civilian Police Assistance Training Team in Iraq. So basically the general who was heading up the training of all Iraqi police forces across the country. And I spent about 9 months as part of his close protection team. This photograph was taken at Landing Zone, Washington, which is in the Green Zone in Baghdad, just across the road from Saddam's old presidential palace. It was one of the best jobs I ever had there, because a lot of the time, whenever we had to travel somewhere, we were always in vehicles. Well, because we were looking after a general, we got a lot of opportunities to travel places via Black Hawk, land somewhere a short distance by road. So, but he was a fantastic guy. I don't think I've ever met such a hard worker in my life. He did a 15-month tour of Iraq, and I'm not exaggerating. He would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and we would have to take turns at doing PT with him. He would want to run 5 miles every morning around the embassy compound. So two of us would have to run with him with a small med pouch and a pistol. We were fairly safe in the US embassy, but just in case there was like a rocket or a mortar attack would come in. But yeah, he would go for his morning run, and then at 6 o'clock, we would be on the move, and this guy would not stop working till 10 o'clock at night, and then would literally have a shower, go to sleep, get up and work again the next day. And he did that for 15 months straight. So I have a massive amount of respect for Major General Mike Jones.
It's Hawk, baby. Hawk in the flesh. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Just in terms of the timeline, Tony, so sorry, we probably could have done this up front, but you did your stint in the Australian Army as a youngster, and then you went back to England for a bit. And then 9/11 happened, and that's when you kind of joined up the was it the SAS?
Yes. So I had, from a very young age, I'd always wanted to join the military, and I wanted to be a career soldier, retire as a sergeant major. But I went into the Australian Army straight out of high school. I'd never lived out of home before, and I'm going to be completely honest and authentic with your audience here. I was actually not a very good soldier when I was in the Australian Army. I was far too immature, did not take on enough responsibility for myself, and didn't perform very well. And because of that, I ended up not going into a job that I wanted to go into. So by the time my kind of 4 years was up, I had become disillusioned with the Army, and I went, right, that's it. I'm going to get out of the Army. I spent the last couple of years basically pushing a wheelbarrow around in North Queensland, where they were building an Air Force base. I was like a British labourer. So I got out of the Army, and I worked in Perth for, 18 months, like driving forklifts, and life really wasn't going anywhere. And my dad suggested that I should go backpacking, and I traveled a little bit through Asia, and then I worked a summer on the Costa del Sol in Spain, working in bars. And 20 years ago this month, there was a good friend that I was working with in that backpackers hostel. I don't want to kind of change the mood here, but he got stabbed to death in that backpackers hostel one night by another drunken person there. I was there when it happened. I tried to prevent it. I tried to save his life. Unfortunately, he passed away from 17 stab wounds, and that completely changed my life. There are two Tony Robertses who've lived in this world. There was the Tony Roberts before that night in Spain, and the Tony Roberts afterwards. I returned to the UK after that happened. This was in July of 2001. And then obviously not very long later, September 11 happened. And I decided I wanted to re-enlist. I wanted a second shot of this dream of being a soldier. And but I had a pretty good day job at the time. So I just joined the Territorial Army, which is what the British call the Army Reserve. I joined the local county regiment, Princess of Wales Royal Regiment. Excelled on both like their recruit course and then their combat infantryman course due to my prior experience. And then also I really feel more to do with my then life experience. I had a completely different mindset after that. And I was only with them for about 8 months, and I went to do a combat infantry course in Catterick. And towards the end of that course, a recruitment team from the Special Forces comes in and addresses everyone on the course and tries to encourage people to go on Special Forces selection. And at that time, I knew a lot about the SAS. I'd read a lot of books like Bravo 20 and The One That Got Away and that kind of thing. I actually had no idea there was a reserve regiment for there's two reserve regiments for the SAS. And I was sitting here on the last couple of days of this course going, I might give that a go next year. You know, that I think I'm about the right age. I'm physically fit. I'm obviously a lot more mature than I was when I was in the Australian Army. I might give that a go. So I gave the guys my details to send me some mailing information, and little did I know, like 8 days later, I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, come to Regent's Park Barracks in London this Saturday for a medical and fitness test. So I just went along and didn't even really kind of think about what was happening to me. The next thing you know, I was on Special Forces selection. So 9 months later, I finally got badged into the regiment, which would have been in 2002, 2003.
Okay.
So I spent about 5 years with the 21st Special Air Services Regiment, and then after leaving the regiment, I then went out to do several years of private security work in Iraq.
So situate us now with this photograph. There's a young Tony in some some woodland camo, in a very sexy pose, I must add.
Yeah, that's one for the calendar.
He's styling and profiling.
That is the calendar pose. You can't tell under all the camouflage that I'm actually oiled up at the moment.
Sexy. Sweaty pair of camis, those. Tony, where was this, my friend?
Well, interestingly, this is another photograph that's never been shared publicly. But when I was selecting some photos to send to you guys earlier today to share on the stream, I was like, I've got to send these guys a photo of me in Africa.
Hey!
This photograph was taken in Kenya. The British Army have a large training facility in Kenya, just outside of a town called Nanuki. The training area, it's called Archer's Post, but it's nicknamed by all the British soldiers as Archer's Roast because it's so damn hot there. So we did a lot of live fire training. Here, basically, I'm in an OP for about 5 days, and this was quite a revolutionary exercise for us. This would have been around 2004, and it was the first time we were using kind of satellite radios to actually beam photographs back to a base in the United Kingdom from Africa. No Wi-Fi, using actually radio signals to transmit digital photographs. It was the first time it had ever been done. And
my word, what was the dial-up speed on that?
It's slow. Slow.
Yeah.
It would take about 45 minutes to send one 2 megabyte photo. So,
and your entire unit decided that they needed to send this picture.
This is the one.
No,
this
this is not
is
the picture
that was sent.
No, we were sending surveillance photographs of a crossroads in a valley. So, but it was all a mock exercise. So, if we saw vehicles traveling down the road or people walking on the road, we would snap photographs and we would have to send those back to the United Kingdom. So, but I absolutely loved Africa. It was a great place. I would like to return one day.
So would I. I assume this is also in Africa.
2032.
Woodland camo, but this time you have the belt-fed machine gun, Tony, crouching low and taking aim.
This is not in Africa. This is in Cyprus. This is in Cyprus. So we went there for quite a while.
It's not Cyprus. It's Greece. It's Greece. It's not Cyprus. There's no Cyprus. Cyprus does not exist. Sorry, you're talking to a Greek by heritage, at least.
Okay. All right.
Interestingly enough, if ever I decided to to enter Greece, they might be able to draft me legally. Anyone, if you're a Greek citizen under the age of 40, male, you're still draftable. So I guess I gotta dodge the recruiters if ever I travel back there, or not.
Yeah. So spent quite a bit of time there. There is the British Army. Oh, sorry, the British Army. The Royal Air Force have an Air Force base there, and the British Army. There's a battalion of Gurkhas based on the island. So, first of all, we went to the Air Force base, and I think we spent about 2 weeks doing some parachuting, some static line parachuting, some kind of low altitude parachuting without static lines. Spent a lot of time on the rifle range. Huh? Are you coming in? Mrs. Analog Toys is here.
You're kidding. Grace.
Are you coming in?
No chairs.
Bring a chair.
Bring a chair.
I can't get up and get a chair. I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah, you can in a minute.
Let me
We
finish
won't
talking
keep it
about
for
the
too much
photo,
longer, Grace.
and I'll go make a drink, and I'll meet you, and I'll bring a chair back. How's that sound? Sorry, that completely threw me off. What are we talking about?
No, that's all right, mate. Sunday night is a big ask for anyone. Fortunately, on the west coast of Australia, it's pretty late. Mm-hmm. All right, pal. Let's show the viewers a few more images. This is an interesting one. You seem to be doing some cross-country skiing with an assault rifle.
That has to be in Africa.
Kilimanjaro no longer has snow, unfortunately, thanks global warming. But yeah, no. Where the hell is this?
This is in a town called Arvidsjaur, which is about 50 kilometers over the border of the Arctic Circle in far north Sweden. Probably spent 2 months there, I think, with the Fallschirmjägerskola, which is the Swedish Special Forces, who were teaching us basically Arctic warfare, how to live, how to survive, how to operate. I had never skied before, but that really didn't matter because all the guys who had done like recreational skiing in France, like downhill skiing, telemark skiing is completely different. Like the skis are even clipped to your boots in an entirely different fashion. So it was...
yeah, I imagine you're not wearing ski boots. Those are useless for any kind of maneuvers other than being on skis. Sure. Now tell me, were you training there during winter or summer? Because I mean, north of the Arctic Circle, you're either getting like 23 hours of sunlight a day or 1 hour of sunlight a day.
We were only just over the border of the Arctic Circle, but we were getting about, I want to say 5 or 6 hours of sunlight a day, maybe.
Oof, ouch. You really miss it, I guess.
The coldest it ever got down to there, the last couple of days I was there, it got down to minus 42.
Oh my word! I don't even want to imagine that.
Yeah. Oh, the kind of the average while I was there was like minus 25. Yeah, it was a fantastic experience. I don't think I want to do it again, but
Sure. I mean, what is the standout, I suppose, rule or doctrine or dogma about Arctic survival, Arctic combat?
That
Don't step out of
another
the
man's
shelter.
body warmth is look. Just get over yourself and have no shame about sharing a sleeping bag with one of your best friends.
Yeah.
It's the best way to get warm is to just get two guys in one sleeping bag. So that's how you develop such close bonds with the guys you serve with, you know.
Yeah, man. No judgment. Yeah, sounds like the most rational thing to do in that kind of environment. Yeah.
Part of
We
this
wanted to-
course, we
Carry on.
had to. So a lot of the areas that you ski over there are actually frozen lakes, and obviously there's always a chance that when you're skiing across one of these lakes, the ice can break and you can fall in. So the worst part of the course is one morning you come down and the Swedish Special Forces guys have gone out with a chainsaw and they've just cut a big hole in the ice in this lake, a big, like, I don't know, probably 3 meter by 3 meter opening. And then they tell you to put on your skis, your belt kit, your backpack, your rifle, and ski into the water and get yourself out again.
Oh man!
Oh my word.
You know, the air temperature is minus 25, and you ski into water like that. And I was one of the last guys to go. And what you had to do, as soon as you hit the water, you had to unclip the ski brackets on the back of your boots, because the skis were made of wood. They would float to the top. Then get your backpack off because it's waterproof. That then floats. Get over to the edge of the ice, grab the ski poles from the very bottom, stab them into the ice and start to drag yourself out. But the other thing that we had to do on the exercise was, once we got to the edge of the ice, was look up at the Sergeant Major and ask him permission to get out of his lake.
Sadist.
A lot of guys I'd seen who had gone ahead of me had skied in, and some had panicked, some had kind of done okay, some were really flustered. And I remember, I was one of the last, maybe even the last guy to go. And I remember I skied in, and I'm trying to control my breathing, and I'm like, I've got this. Skis came off easy, backpack came off easy. I get over to the edge, I get the ski poles, I stab them into the ice, and I look up at the Sergeant Major, and I'm like, I'm nailing this. I've got this down. And then I look up at him, and I go to speak, and the coldness hits me, and I go, "Please, Sergeant Major!" I start talking like a 10-year-old girl.
Jeez. Well, all of a sudden, I have mad respect for the Arctic operators on the Joe team. Snow job, yeah, it's a worthy specialty, that's for sure. Oy. All right, let's take another look into your photo book, Tony. This, I assume, is you in Iraq. You are now a private security, what do you call it, consultant?
I was a contractor for the U.S. Department of Defense. So,
right, and you're still wearing the Union Jack on your vest.
I am. I've got the Union Jack. Obviously, camouflage one. I've swapped it out for the coloured one to match the action figure. In fact, when I was having that chat with Bobby on Tuesday, he was like, "Oh, damn, I thought it was coloured. I'm going to change it." I said, "No, don't change it, because, you know, for a toy, it gives it that pop of colour."
Oh, yeah.
You know, I understand blending that line between, you know, what I really wore and then making an appealing looking action figure. So keep the color. But I've also got on there NKA, which is no known allergies. So, you know, if I'm wounded and people come over, they know I don't have a penicillin allergy. I've also got O positive for my blood group. But this is taken, I don't remember, southern Iraq somewhere. I don't remember the town, but this was a very remote little Iraqi army outpost. I really don't remember. You know, we would often stop into these places and just go and chat to people and try and get we were always collecting intelligence. You know, we had a mission to do and we had jobs to do. But if we ever got the opportunity to stop here, I had a couple of really good interpreters, and we would try and gather whatever intelligence. So we'd go in and speak to the Iraqi army officers, about kind of what's going on in the local area and feed that information back into headquarters. So, but I sent you this photo because when you talk about the Desert Rat action figure, that's the often discussed, and certainly in the last week anyway, the often discussed highly customized M4 rifle. At this particular time, I'm carrying my pistol on my chest. At one period in Iraq, it would be carried on a drop leg holster. This was very good when you're in vehicles and you come to a checkpoint, you've got to wind the window down, and it's a lot easier to draw a pistol from here when you're sitting in a car than it is from your drop leg. So,
which makes me kind of almost want to skip on to the action figure, but we got some more images from Iraq, presumably. These are your boys.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that, about your chest-mounted gun there. But you answered it, so yay!
Oh, perfect. Yeah, these are my guys here. That guy in the middle, who's kind of facing the camera, he was the best man at my wedding. That's Chris Fendel, known to us as Fenders. But basically, this here, if you just scroll down to the corner, this has got a date on it. This photo, I'm trying to think exactly when this was. Okay, so the 13th of March, 2010. We are basically, my team is looking here. We have come down a road in Dekar province. I think we've traveled through the city of Al-Naziriyah, and then there's a long road that basically travels all the way up to the next province to the north. And as we were traveling down the road, we heard some stuff on the radio that an IED had gone off. We got kind of closer to the area, and there is what you can't see. Obviously, most of us are looking over to the right-hand side. Is a pretty much completely destroyed private security vehicle that was hit by an IED. So at the moment, I'm here. I'm the team leader. I'm making a very quick assessment. You'll see in the top left there, one of the guys in the front vehicle, he's gone up through the top hatch. Basically, he's going to run security forwards, and the person taking the photograph is the gunner in the rear vehicle, who should really be facing backwards, but he's taking a photo of me. I probably told him to take a photo of me. I'm quite vain like that. But
who knew that 11 years later you'd be talking about it on a toy podcast with a bunch of South African kids?
Yeah, I was having a conversation about that with a friend today. But yeah, basically, I'm making a very quick assessment here. I was fortunate that day that I had some good interpreters, but also we normally only had one medic in the team, and this particular day we had two trained medics. So I remember pretty much a split second after this photo was taken, I turned around and I was like, right, this medic, you pair up with this interpreter, you go and help them, you guys go and help. Just came up with what we call quick battle orders, and went in and basically did what we could to help while we were waiting for medical aid to arrive via helicopter. So,
yeah, man. Once again, classified intel that you shared with me, IEDs that must be the greatest scourge of your time in country.
Yes.
It's so indiscriminate and terrifying.
Yep, very much so. I always said that I was going to write a book one day about my time in Iraq, and I was going to call it Dead Dogs and Sand Piles, because they would hide IEDs in dead dog carcasses and sand piles, all sorts. And so I'd be driving down the road. I'd be in the passenger seat of the lead vehicle as a team leader. And basically my job is to navigate and to communicate with the other two vehicles and warn them of threats in the road ahead, give them directions. So if we were going to make a left turn, I would give them, 500 meters warning, 100 meters warning. But we would be traveling down the road, and I'd be on the radio and dead dog carcass left side, stay right, and we would literally veer over as far as we could to the right hand side to avoid a dead dog carcass, because there's a potential that has an ID inside. And same with sand piles and all kinds of things. So
to quote Desert Rat, the rules of the road: stay alive.
Stay alive. Yeah.
All right, and here we have the hero shot of you and your boys. Blue sky in the background. You're on a sandbank. In short, who are the characters here?
So just next to me at the front there is Lee Rawlins. He was an ex-Royal Marine Commando. Behind him is Dafar. He was one of our drivers. He was a local Iraqi that we trained up. Next to him was Hassam, who is an excellent driver. He was formerly a taxi driver and truck driver in Iraq.
Amazing,
so
like blocker.
Yeah.
Sorry. Battle Force 2000 reference. That was for Bart.
And then the kind of dark-skinned gentleman in the middle is Faris. He was the fittest Iraqi I'd ever met. The Iraqis weren't known for being particularly fit people. You know, we would run them through fitness tests and they would always struggle, but he was a very fit guy. The guy at the very back is another Iraqi who, strangely, was really, really good at both volleyball and soccer.
Was he in goal by any chance? I mean, he looks pretty tall.
No, he wasn't. He was, I'd say, a midfielder. He just had an unnatural talent for football. So, I think Gracie's going to come and join us.
Oh, great!
Which
well,
might be good timing because she knows some of the people in this photo. Yeah, so at the front here is Dan Margetts. He was one of the team medics, also an ex-Royal Marine. And then second from the right is Abdul. I became very, very close friends with Abdul. He was just a lovely guy, a good interpreter. And then Craig Rawlins, another extra. Actually, it's funny. All the expats in this photo, bar me, are ex-Royal Marines. So my team, people would rotate out over time. But yeah, it's and again,
but you also had some Americans, did you not? Or was it, strictly speaking, always going to be British servicemen?
Well, the company I worked for was predominantly a British company, but
yes, we
had a few Americans. There were more Australians than that, even though we were on an American contract. But surprisingly, we had quite a few South Africans.
Why is that surprising, Tony? Why is that surprising at all?
Well, okay, coincidental, because I'm on a South African GI Joe podcast. But I must say, they were the South Africans were really, really good operators, very experienced, very professional. So,
cheers. Can't say I know any of them personally, but if I ever do, I'll send your regards.
I used to know two, actually, that used to be customers. They used to be regular customers at Anime Works, and it was around that time as well that they would be deployed for like 6 months or 8 months, and then they'd come in and the one dude would buy a whole bunch of toys. Like he'd buy toys and comics and stuff, and I'd be like, yeah, because he would take some of it with him, like the comics and whatever, to read while he was on tour. And then, and I mean, guys, this is going to sound grim, and I'm sorry if it is a bit grim, but he would like go, this is me buying all of these toys. And he would always like say to me, like, dude, just enjoy life, man, you know? And I would be like, cool, man, I hope to see you next time. And he's like, me too. And then he would leave. And so that was the one. And then the other one, he was actually working in model kits and stuff here locally. He built a lot of architectural models, and I actually learned a lot about model building from him. And then the firm that he worked for closed down, so then he went to become a PMC again. He went back into that side of things, and that was also around that time. So 2010, 2011, yeah.
Got a nice segue for you here. Yeah, what is it, Tony?
Well, Gracie's going to come and join me. If you just give me 2 seconds, I'm going to shut off my camera. You guys are professionals. You can keep the show going.
Yes, sir.
I need to grab another chair and adjust the camera, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Is that okay?
Sweet.
Sounds good for me, man.
Fine.
Gracie has never been on another YouTube channel apart from Analog Toys, so this is a first.
She's more than welcome.
Yes.
All right, well, I'll be back in a moment.
Sweet. Hey, I've been accused of a lot of things, but professional is not one of them.
Gents,
wow.
Let me hold back on any further Tony material for now. We're going to use this little juncture, this little impasse, to talk quickly about a little something coming down the pipeline called GI Joe Origins Snake Eyes. Is that correct?
The movie.
The Snake Eyes
The movie, which I'm very sorry to announce. Perhaps there's a bit of relief going through the audience, but I will be the only member of Joburg who is able to see it in the coming week.
Yep. Sadly.
I mean, is it not coming out in South Africa?
No, it is, but cinemas are not going to be open. That's the problem.
Oh shit, they haven't opened cinemas. I
Yeah.
forgot.
So it comes out on the 24th, but because the lockdown has been extended, God knows what reason, it's we can't go to the movie cinemas to
I mean,
watch a
they've
movie.
opened restaurants and other things, but we still can't go to the cinemas.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So I'm hoping that between now and then something does change. I'm holding thumbs. But yeah, let me not derail you, Steve.
Well, today is Sunday. He usually makes these kind of announcements on Sundays, but we're into the first week of the we're into the first week of the first extension.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, so you would only really come back on next Sunday.
I mean, the reality of it, Rob, was and I mean, this is the cold reality of it, was that aside from the lockdown, there was also the potential of there not being a mall to watch it in. You know?
Well, yeah, that's the thing as
Yeah.
well. That is
So-
true.
Because I mean, yeah.
Look, whether you guys are able to see it or not, and this take it or leave it, ladies and gentlemen of the audience, next week's podcast will be a spoiler review of Snake Eyes, courtesy of yours
Fantastic.
truly and a special guest.
Whoever's able to join you from the rest of us and
No.
the special guest.
Yes, I've got someone lined up, so don't worry, you won't be listening to me solo. But yes,
Oh,
this
thank
time
God.
next week, you will get GI Joburg, or at least one member of GI Joburg's honest opinion on Snake Eyes. So give it a wide berth if you don't want to hear any movie talk, or maybe you do want to hear it because maybe I'll have nothing but bad things to say.
Well,
But,
we've got at least one offer from the chat that could stream it for us, Paul. Maybe we should
Maybe we should take it as
slip
an
into
offer.
his DMs and see what we can do.
Totally. I mean, listen, I didn't have a plan B when we were initially planning this. I now have a plan B in the form of, well, I didn't know that the Black Widow movie had come out until I had seen it on certain websites. So I'm hoping perhaps I'll have the same luck with Snake Eyes. Not that I want to encourage that. I'll definitely give that movie my dollars or my rands. But, you know.
Well,
Paul, I'm
we'll
going to
see
cut
what
you off,
happens.
man, because we have a special guest in the studio. It's Grace Roberts. Greetings.
Thank you.
My name is Stephen. I'm the talking head that has blue. We didn't do our makeup, so welcome
It's good to
and
be here.
fantastic to have you in the show. I believe you have some war stories you'd like to share. How did you meet this? How
I'm
did you
just
meet this
fine
hunky
with
fella?
dating, so if that what the war you want to hear, so
Well, maybe this can stir up some memories, I guess.
ask
Who's
me a
this
question.
handsome,
Ask away.
this strapping fella?
Oh, look at that good-looking rooster.
Ah, yes. Well, he's been immortalized in plastic, Grace. I mean, does it mean anything to know that your husband has an action figure on the way of himself?
No, the thing is funny enough. No, he's still not sinking in yet because I actually got a real life of him right here. So
True.
it actually did not singing in just yet for me.
But now you'll have a
I think
small
I think for
version
the
of
past
Tony that
7
you can
days.
abuse.
Oh,
Sorry, what was that?
You can now receive a small version of Tony which you can abuse and
yeah,
hurl
you know,
insults
I'm
at.
sure Tony will buy the figure of himself and just put it on a different corner of my house. Here, the dishwasher. Here is a corner of my laundry. You know, I'll hear the whole sort of places. But no, it have not singing just yet. But I'm very happy for Tony. Very happy.
What do you think of the head sculpts? Actually, I've got a better picture right here. Do you think they nailed his good
I
looks?
think I think they did actually. Because
really?
if I haven't like not been with you, I like if you just sit that figure and turn it together, I'll know that represents Tony. So it pretty spot on.
Well, then, kudos to the creators, Bobby Valla and his
for
team.
sure, 100%.
Yeah. And I mean, Tony, maybe you enjoy this as well, but I like an action figure to have a neutral expression. Fortunately, Desert Rat is not pulling his war face. It's very much a focused. Oh dear, my computer. Once again, it's very much a focused, like, on mission kind of expression. Which, yeah.
Well,
have we lost?
Bobby asked me for some headshots, which I just thought he was making a custom head just for me. Like, I never thought I was going to be a character. So obviously you can see the surprise on my face in that reveal. But he asked me for some headshots, so I thought I was taking a passport photo. Maybe I should have sent him a front page shot of me, like, war face.
Sorry. Hi everyone. Sorry, I haven't read the rest of you comment, but hi everyone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So Steve, Paul, Deadly Pencils, and Rob are from GI Joburg, a South African YouTube channel that talks about one of my favorite toy lines, GI Joe.
Surely.
Yeah.
Surely. But yes, hi everyone. I'm sorry if I not read any comment that's coming up. Sorry, but yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Well, Carl Rudy says Gracie's code name is the Boss. That's quite accurate, actually. She's got a T-shirt that says that.
We're gonna have one in our household to be the boss. You can't be the boss of everything.
I'm not.
Oh.
Tony, did Bobby mention how Desert Rat fits the sort of the building Action Force mythology? Is he a member of Action Force? Is he kind of allied to New Colonia? What's his story? Can you reveal those kind of details?
I know some details. I'm not actually sure how much I can reveal.
Fair enough.
In the current storyline, he is not yet a member of Action Force, but he soon will be.
Cool. New recruit. Nice.
Let's just say,
or a veteran who's been recently.
What can you reveal?
Get the comic book, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you tell me just a tiny bit of some like glitch or something?
So I don't know which comic issue.
Okay, I'm gonna spill the bean right here because I don't know. I know as much as you do. I don't know anything.
Grace, you're gonna get us into trouble.
No, I'm not.
No. There's going to be a comic panel where I meet Condor and I say the line, "I am your father." No, not really.
At least you didn't say Luke, I'm your father.
My character and Condor go back a ways.
Very good.
No relation.
Well, you maybe grew up playing Action Man together, perhaps. Which brings me to another question. Did you have the original Palitoy Desert Rat?
When I was a kid, I did not.
Okay.
I actually had the father of that. I had the original Action Man Desert Rat, which came a few years earlier than that. This isn't my childhood one. But yeah, I had this. This figure came out in like 1979, I think it was.
But Tony, it does look kind of like you. You got a massive beard when you're in Iraq and stuff.
A massive beard?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is I'm not agree with. Thank you very much.
We did a Patreon-only live stream a few days after IconicCon. It was like the after party. And actually, I'm going to share the link with you guys later if you want to watch it. Me and Grace were extremely drunk and just jumped on to have a chat to the Patreon.
Oh, you don't have to just say that.
But one of the comments Grace said about the action figure is that he didn't have enough
backside.
It didn't have enough junk in the back trunk.
Pretty much. Everything I'm pretty happy with. You know, your face, your figure, your arm, everything was perfect.
You just like a little bit of juice in that booty, hey, Grace?
Yeah, you're right, correct. I like a little bit of juicy in that booty.
All right, folks. You're definitely getting raw, uncut Tony Roberts tonight.
Oh,
This is
for
a
sure. It's
inside
always
scoop.
raw, uncut in my household.
Outstanding. And I mean, you're a pal with Bob Breakin, Palitoy, stalwart, legend. And you know, what was the reaction that you got from him when you told him about this action figure?
Well, so we'd been talking quite a lot in the days leading up to my interview with him, which was in my time zone. I got the reveal from Bobby. The stream started at 6 a.m. and then I was on with Bob at 8 p.m. at night. So, but I knew Bob had been away on holiday. He got back the night before, that was the only day he was available for Iconicon. So I had made sure I got the photographs on my desktop ready to share with him to try and get a public reaction. But we were chatting about an hour before the stream and he'd already seen it on social media. And he absolutely loved it. Huge fan. It was almost fate because when he turned the camera on and joined me on StreamYard for that interview, he had the original prototype of Desert Rat sitting on his living room table. Right,
but you can't predict it, can you?
No.
But also for Bob, he probably is over the moon just for you to be in one of this figure.
Yeah, and
so am I, and obviously so is your mum and your family, and like as a wife, I'm like, look at my husband. No, I'm so proud. We still over the moon right now.
Grace, I'm sure there are customizers who can add a little bit more booty to the action.
It's okay. You know the beanbag thing that you can just add on to that. That's fine. I can buy them from Kmart.
People are already talking about making 3D printed custom accessory packs with a large ass.
Yeah, everyone loves huge ass at the moment. It's in, Tony. It's in.
Okay,
you was in it before there was in it. Sorry.
Yep.
And Tony, I mean, is it? Are you at liberty to say where that Palitoy original prototype of the Desert Rat, where it's destined for? Leading question, Your Honor.
No, I don't think I can at the moment. I did have a chat with Bob after the stream and discussed if he was willing to sell it, which he is. It's out of my price range, but I have connected someone who I think would like to have that in their new office, maybe on the east coast of America somewhere.
It's terrific news, man.
It's
wonderful. Who are you, Ryan Sweeney?
Ryan Sweeney
in the chat.
What's his name? The Kardashian accessory pack.
Well, you're not wrong. Have you seen his backside?
Fortunately, we haven't. We haven't been north of the Arctic Circle and been forced to share a sleeping bag either. Ah, Tony, I feel like we've had 2 hours of your Sunday, man, and I'm tempted to extend it, but at the same time, we've all got lives, I suppose. I suppose on the way out, yeah, man, I've had a fantastic time talking to you. Thank you for joining us, Grace, as well. Bonus.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We don't have too many female voices on GI Joburg. My wife certainly gives us a wide berth most of the time. So this is a rare and wonderful treat.
But also, this is rare for me. I don't pop up on Tony's channel very often. Probably not at all.
No, and this is your first time on someone else's channel. So,
yeah. But yeah, I think lately, because I know I'm going to go working on shift work, we're obviously going to be, me and Tony going to be on the same shift. So we'll be spending more time together, and we'll spend more time with him when he's doing live stream and stuff. Because before this, I was not, my time was just not allocated for this at all. So now I got more of this time. I'll make sure I make some effort to appear on here every now and again.
Yeah, not just the Christmas specials, a little bit more frequently.
Yeah. That's what I mean.
She's broken the ice, Tony. Watch out! You're gonna have a very, very eager co-host. You're not gonna be able to. You're not gonna be able to stop her, man. All right.
You're right.
Good. We need another.
Before we do
lady
wrap
in
things
toys.
up, I just want to go around the hosts here, and please don't be intimidated. No judgment here. I want your honest opinions on what you think of the Desert Rat action figure. So maybe Rob, would you like to go first?
I think it's a really cool action figure. I mean, it's in a scale that I personally don't buy, but I think it really looks fantastic, and I think that Bobby's done a really good job, dude. Your reaction to, I mean, as long as you're happy with it, and there's tons of people buying this figure, I think it's absolutely amazing. And it definitely adds to the line that Bobby has created as well. It's a unique character that he hasn't had yet in the line. So I'm glad that you're part of it, and I think it's really cool.
Thanks, man.
I would maybe. I mean, I won't buy any of the other ones, but maybe I'll save us some money and get this one.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'll send you an autographed one. Paul, what did you think of the Desert Rat action figure?
Oh man, dude, I dig it, man. It's a very, very cool toy, and I'll tell you why I like it so much. I love the fact that it's got a realistic military aesthetic to it, because it is, and it's you. But it's cool that it's got that, and it's a character. And one of the big things is the custom gun. I absolutely love that. And I said as much in our last episode as well. It's really cool to have that, you know, and that's one of the things that has sort of appealed to me with Sideshow's toy line, is that you could have a Joe like Beachhead or Stork or whoever, and you could like do it up how you wanted to give it personality, to give that character personality. And so I think that your toy has already got that. It's already got it set up the way you would want yourself to be set up as a soldier. And I really appreciate that, because it's so often that you get like figures that are military spec, and that's great, but they're wearing everything in a very default configuration. They're not wearing it to be personal. It's not personalized to them. So I absolutely love that. So I'm glad I'm going to have like a Desert Fox. Oh, I nearly called you Desert Fox. I'm glad I'm going to have a Desert Rat figure in my life as well, because I'm just waiting for Bobby to make it available so I can like put in my pre-order, because I've been struggling to find the link for the pre-order, but I totally want one, man. So
you'll hear it from me.
One,
I'll be shouting it from the rooftops when the pre-orders go up. Just quickly to answer Bobby O'Collins' question, he says, will it include a helmet? No, you can get a helmet from one of the accessory packs, but Bobby, and I perfectly agree with this choice, he opted to give this figure a backpack instead of a helmet, because I would always carry a small backpack and would very rarely wear a helmet. As you can see in this photo, maybe? Yeah. So I think this might be the first Valaverse Action Force figure to come with a backpack, as opposed, you know, all the other, you have to get the backpack as a separate accessory. So he gave this figure a backpack instead of a helmet. He didn't ask me about this first, because I obviously didn't know about the figure, but I think it was an excellent choice. Bobby literally based this on a number of photos that he had stolen from my personal Facebook page.
Actually,
Very surreptitious.
Yeah, of course.
Also, if there's one thing I would like add, it would be your glasses, your sunnies.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that. Yeah, I'm wearing a pair of Oakley.
Like a pre-order bonus for like the first bunch of guys to pre-order should get like a sunny a head with your glasses on. I think that would be cool. Not that I'm trying to give Bobby ideas or anything, but I think that would be rad. So.
For me, how's this as a chef's kiss? Putting it in the Action Force colored box.
I think that was what blew me away the most during the reveal. I couldn't believe it.
We have a man in Bobby Valor who really, really does his homework. He lives, breathes, eats, sleeps, dreams this stuff. And like, he's constantly figuring out ways to make this toy that much cooler. I mean, on the right here, we've got the original Desert Rat carded Pally toy. And then over on the left,
we got this
Desert
badass.
Rat 2021. No, stylish. The font is correct. The logo is correct. The colors
Yeah.
are matched beautifully. It's a lovely presentation, even if it stays in the box. But since Bobby himself is an action man, I'm sure these toys will be fantastic in hand to play with. And I can't wait to play with
Me
you,
too.
Tony.
I can't wait to hold it. I can't wait
Grace
to
wants-
actually hold it in my hand.
Grace can't wait to play with little
like
Tony.
mini you.
All right, I think, guys, that is a fantastic note to end it on. Tony, I've had an absolute blast. I was about to say jol, which is a South African word for a blast. Ja, lekker jol met my vriend. Yeah, cool, man. Thanks everyone for listening. Tony, you know the drill, man. Plug your channel. If anyone doesn't know Analog Toys, come on.
Already, they should.
Yeah. Come now, dudes.
Take it away, lady.
Sorry, if you don't know Analog Toys, you should. Where
So
where you been hiding?
What do I make videos about?
Or a vintage toy, maybe?
You don't know. You don't watch it.
Honey, I'll leave with you. I don't have to.
No, look. But before I sign off, I just want to send a sincere thank you to Rob. The Sly versus Arnie panel on Iconicon it's become one of the most popular live streams that I've ever done. You know, looking at the views, it's over 8,000 views now, and I actually think it was one of the most popular live streams of all Iconicon.
Wow.
And yeah, well, and that's all down to the fact that I had Rob from GI Joburg. So thank you.
I would definitely agree with that. I think if I was on more on more of these things, Iconicon would have really soared. But thankfully, or fortunately for you, I was on your channel, and yeah, tons more people now know about Analog Toys because I was on your channel. So you're very lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually got both ways, though. You know, people know
Exactly.
more people from you collaborating and you just being on each other's channel. But yeah, I love all this amazing community. I love how you guys not just you no longer talk about toy. It's more it go far deeper than that, and I love that for Tony.
And
Because he leave me alone most of the time. Thank you very much.
Iconicon next year, Paul. I've got to get you on.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you want to talk about? We'll think
Dude.
anything.
Well, right now
Karate Kid.
I'm down to chat about Karate Kid, but listen, I'm open, man. I have a vast pop culture knowledge. I like stuff too much. So
Well, I
can
think
go
a
deep.
good suggestion would actually be because I noticed Tony in your top 10 GI Joe and your top 10 Cobra videos. The reason why the figures are number one, literally you say it is this guy is the Snake Plissken of GI Joe, and this guy is the Snake Plissken of Cobra. So I think definitely if we could do a huge Snake Plissken thing next year for Iconicon or Kurt Russell in general from the 80s and 90s. I think Paul will definitely rock that.
Totally, dude.
I'm a huge Snake Plissken fan.
Oh, absolutely. Same as well. I own 2 sideshows, and one of them is Snake Plissken.
Wow. Hey, that's
Awesome.
that's love.
That's lovely.
In the chats, we've got people saying, Gaz actually has mentioned American Ninja. Now, I don't know where the first American Ninja was shot, but all the sequels were shot in South Africa. And a lot of the secondary cast are people I actually personally know.
Michelle
Wow.
Buertes.
Michelle
Yeah.
Buertes, for one. I shared a dressing room with the sort of the evil scientist dude in I think it was American Ninja 3. It's quite possible I could get some of them to guest on that panel. Oh,
No,
man.
man, we could do that.
Yeah, this
I
is a
would
definite
love
thing
that.
happening.
Yeah, 'cause
Tell their
Because I
stories
actually-
about Michael Dudikoff back in the day.
Oh man, that would be so great because I know Michelle Buertes as a customer as well from Anime Works. She loves
Nice.
she loves martial arts movies as well. So
She does. Oh,
she
crazy.
does. She legit comes and used to come and buy a lot of Kurosawa stuff and a lot of kung fu stuff when we had it. So
Well, that's interesting. Like, if you actually landed a gig on American Ninja 3 and it was actually a dream job, like for most actors, it's like, don't want to mention that. Like, they shuffle that one to the back of my credits. But if she was actually a fan of kung fu movies, I suppose, be remembered with some fondness. Anyways, Paul, where can people reach us?
People can reach us all over the internet by searching GI Joburg, but more specifically, you can check us on Facebook, you can check us on YouTube, you can find us on Instagram. You can also
You can
join.
email us at arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com or shoot us a
Exactly.
voice note. Hey.
And if we see comments that we like or we get emails from you, be sure that we will read them out on the show and credit you, of course. So yeah, please, by all means, send in some comments and voice notes and all that good stuff. You can also check out and join our Berg Force by joining our Patreon. It's displayed on the screen, but the link is in the description below. And while I'm showing you the Patreon banner, just like to say a hearty welcome to Scuba Pete, who has recently joined the Berg Force. So yeah, Scuba Pete. Woohoo!
Nice.
And
We
then
love
also,
Scuba Pete.
we love Scuba Pete. And then if you want to get some of our very cool G.I. Joe-ish merchandise,
Skirting that
Inspired.
IP.
yeah,
Mhm.
featuring characters from your favorite IPs like GI Joburg and and collecting your characters from the Berg Force and Snake Force respectively. You can find them here. The link is also in the description below. Like we do cool stuff. Well, we try, and it's all there. So without further ado, I can't think of anything else to send people to. Oh, and no, that's it. That's it. I'm
Bye,
trying to get the
Felicia.
thing of the screen now. Cool. Yes, please buy a t-shirt because they're awesome. And because I have heard everybody's comments, I have been working on new designs. One of the designs rhymes. One of the
Where's my
characters.
shirt? Where is it?
Why
Wow,
isn't she
you
have
are.
one yet, Paul? Come on.
Yeah,
You need to make one that says the boss.
The boss.
Yeah, I didn't want to
Yeah.
wear
But
What, the boss of GI Joburg?
I'll wear that.
You're in for a bit of a time trying to herd these three guys together.
You're like kids.
Good luck with the rare spotted Rob Unicornosaurus.
Just to give you guys some good previews as well, I'm just going to share a small image. So Cold
Aw.
Fire, the wolf mix, the extended wolf mix, and the wolf short edit is now available for our Patreons, for our Berg Force to listen to and enjoy. I've also put in a small sample of a new track called Grape Soda. And for our supporters who have been requesting it, I have been working on some shirts. One of the characters, his name rhymes with Free Condo, and the other character rhymes
Free
with
condo.
Rally
You don't
Sniper.
have to pay for. Is it free shit? Did I hear?
No, it's not Free Condo. It's just Freak Ondo.
Free condo. Is it free condo?
Well, she doesn't even know who Recondo is, so she just thought she
It's a
was
condominium.
getting some free stuff.
But just so you guys know, when it does get released, it will probably be released under Berg Force Bushmaster.
Nice.
Perfect. And without further ado, full force. I'm in Joburg.
It's time for action.
Yeah.
Yes. Let everyone.
Valaverse.com. I'm not here to plug analog toys. I'm here to plug Valaverse. So head over to valaverse.com. Pre-orders are closed at the moment. You can get some pre-orders of some of the first wave stuff on Big Bad Toy Store, but I'll be sure to let everybody know on all my social media platforms as soon as Desert Rat becomes available for pre-order. Of course, I'm going to let.
If anyone want mini Tony, please go and order.
Yeah.
Who doesn't? I probably want 50 of them in my household, just to put in a different corner.
You're paying for
Say
it.
no to 6 inches of Tony.
You can.
One Tony's not enough for Grace. She wants
Oh, is that-
51.
Well, it one are not enough already. I actually want another 50. The one that it actually doesn't talk back, so I just want them everywhere.
An army of mute
quiet.
Tonys. That is what Grace wants. Oh dear. We're gonna get out of here before we get embroiled in a domestic situation.
You didn't know Valaverse is making a talking action figure?
Oh, fucked.
All right.
Sorry,
Later,
I'm-
everybody. We love you. Goodbye.
Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.